Welcome back to Drydock with Bogatyr. There's a lot of stuff going on with Warships right now, and first and foremost has got to be the release of patch 0.6.0, which is going to be coming up here shortly. And the big news with that is the changing up of all the captain skills. So right now, most of the discussion online is concerning the radio position finding skill. So let's start right there. Seems like the easiest place to begin. And I will kick it off by telling you the Reader's Digest version. I kind of hate this skill. No, not kind of. I genuinely do hate this skill. I don't think it's particularly overpowered when it's in single ships and random battles. That's important, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But I do think it's completely terrible because it is a 4-point skill that just nullifies concealment. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, it might be a little bit overpowered because it can nullify your concealment expert skill, it can nullify all of your concealment modules, it can nullify all the way that you play to keep yourself concealed by simply giving whoever has it that big flashing marker up on their screen that says, yeah, they're right over there, go find them. So I think it's pretty terrible and doesn't belong in the game. I don't think it's going to ruin most random battles because most random battles are not decided by individual stealth warships, but some are. What I think you're going to see the problem with radio position finding is going to happen when you have two cruisers in a division, both of them with this skill. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see people start triangulating the location of that last enemy ship or those enemy ships that are nearby. And what's going to happen is you're going to see these divisions are just, it's no longer even going to be they're in that direction. They're going to be able to know down to the grid square that they're in, and maybe even tighter at close range, exactly where the last, or where enemy ship is. And what's going to happen is people are going to get hunted down and annihilated with this skill by divisions. And right now, there seems to be a fairly clear divide. You got some of the people that are the very high-skilled players, the people that are very good at the game, are saying, who cares? This isn't a big deal. Your own skill from playing the game is going to give you the intuition to have a pretty good idea where there's an opposing ship at the moment. And they're not wrong. I mean, personally, as somebody who mostly plays this game by themselves, I don't division up with a lot of guys, but as somebody who plays this game mostly by myself, I don't see myself ever taking it. I don't see it being of that much worth. When I'm in a battleship, I always assume there's a destroyer nearby ready to torpedo me. And in general, when I'm in a cruiser or a destroyer, I know where the other destroyers are. I know where the battleships are. I know where these people are located at. So I don't even feel like I need to take it. And let's be clear, I don't think I'm a highly skilled, excellent player. By the stats, I am slightly above average, probably to the point where I can claim to not really be a tomato anymore, unless I'm in a destroyer. But then you have everybody else, the people who don't play in divisions, they don't play at a very high skill level, people that are just average. And for those people, there is a lot of utility to this. They might not have the best situational awareness already developed. They might not have all those little tips and tricks and ways to find people and just the map knowledge to go find people. And those people look at this and say, well, this is just going to ruin the game. And, you know, all that effort I'm putting into remaining concealed is just completely pointless at this point because somebody can take this skill and find me. And I think what's going to happen once this skill winds up in the active game, not just in the player test arena, what you're going to see happen is you're going to see a lot of these high skill cap players are suddenly going to hate this skill. Because what's going to happen is they're going to outmaneuver the enemy team, they're going to be sitting pretty on cap points, and they're either going to be running around trying to ninja cap points or whatever, and they're going to have the other people on the enemy team are just going to make a beeline straight for them. And they're going to lose, not because the other guy has a whole lot of skill or not because the other guy really knows what's going on. They're going to lose just because this guy has this skill active. And I think you're going to see a lot of people suddenly decide, yeah, this really does kind of suck. It might not show up a lot in a highly competitive environment, like in team battles or clan battles or whatever's coming from the future of the game, But I think there's going to be a lot of instances in just regular random battles where this is just going to say, yep, I'm glad you have a whole lot of skill in this game, but this guy spent 4 points on radio position finding, so screw you. And I don't like that. I don't think you should be able to take and spend 4 captain skill points and just utterly negate somebody's concealment. I don't think that should be a thing. I mean, I played a game last night where I wound up flanking the enemy team and harassing them with torpedoes from a direction they completely didn't expect. And if anybody on that team had had radio position finding, I would have been hosed. They would have known I was there, and they would have come and eaten me alive. And that's just all there is to it. And I don't like that. You should not be able to spend skill points to just completely negate somebody else's ability. Somebody's learned ability should not be trumped by somebody's automatic ability. And you know what? I'm done with that. I think the skill's terrible. I really wish it would go away, but I have a bad feeling that it's not. So, moving on. What about the rest of the captain skill changes? Well, first off, I don't think they're going to accomplish their goal. Wargaming's stated goal with a lot of these captain skill changes has been to increase the diversity of captain builds. Because right now, I mean, let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of diversity. If you play a battleship, you spec for secondaries. You might pick some of the skills for tanking a little bit better, but in reality, you pick to spec for your secondaries because there's just not much else to select from. Most of the rest of the skills are very minimal improvements and just not worth the points. Whereas the benefit you get from going with a high secondaries build more than make up for it. When you go with cruisers, there's a little bit of variability, but again, a lot of the problem with cruisers is the other builds are not viable. Because right now, one of the big differences in cruisers is you can spec for Demolition Expert, which lets you set fires better, which is usually what most of your Japanese cruisers take. Or you can spec into your secondaries / AA, which is really specking into your AA, because cruiser secondaries are terrible and you never waste the points specking into secondaries on them. But here's the problem. Why would I ever spec for AA right now? I mean, even my New Orleans is spec for Demolition Expert, and why? And I realize I'm talking about the lack of carriers while I'm showing a replay with carriers in it, but most of the time, there's not carriers in games. I mean, I only see a carrier every second or third game. And even if there is a carrier in the game, there's no guarantee the carrier's coming to my side of the map. He might be sending his bombers all to the other side of the map. So what good is my AA spec cruiser doing at that point? You know, every 4th to 6th game, I might actually have a carrier, and he might actually send the bombers towards me, and I might actually get a chance to use my defensive fire to annihilate his airplanes. The other rest of the time, it's worthless. And that's kind of the problem right now with the skill trees, is there's really 1, maybe 2 viable builds. And that's it. Well, when you take a look at the captain skills shuffle, they're not fixing it. I mean, they've made some good changes. Going from a 5-layer skill tree to a 4 is a great change, because then just about anybody can make it down there and start getting those top-level skills without, you know, having to really invest a captain across multiple ships to get up to that point. It's good that people can explore the entire tree without having to have one captain for 2 or 3 ships. So that's a good change. But all they did was shuffle the existing skills. They haven't fixed the problem. There's still no real viable other build for battleships besides going into secondaries. I've been sitting here playing with the skill calculator on Ship Comrade, and yes, it's more of a pain to get a full secondaries build on a battleship. It requires going all the way out to 17 skill points to actually fill it out properly. But it's still what I want to build for. I mean, there's still no real viable alternatives. I mean, you have a few skills in there that you can maybe say, well, I'm going to spec for tankiness. I'm going to take things like vigilance, you know, firefighting, preventative maintenance, and try to make the ship as tanky as possible. But whatever. I mean, let's be honest. Speccing your ship to be 10% more tanky is not nearly as exciting as a heavy secondaries build. It's boring. It's uninteresting. It's nothing I particularly want to play. And I don't think anybody else is really going to play it. I think, that little bit of extra tankiness is not going to stand up in the face of the massive DPS increase of a secondaries build. So you're still going to see battleships built for secondaries. You're still going to see cruisers primarily built for demolition expert. They might take radio position finding just to mess with destroyers, but that's it. I mean, by and large, you're not providing alternatives. And plus, what's worse, when you take a look at the skill tree, they've nerfed some of those basic 1 and 2 point skills, and now that third layer of skills is just crammed full of everything. I mean, on that third layer, you've got basic firing training, you've got superintendent, you've got basics of survivability, you've got fire prevention, you've got demolition expert. Basically, everything that used to be on the useful stuff from levels 1 and 2, and even some of the stuff from level 4, is just all crammed down into that third level now. I'm not feeling like they're improving the variety of builds. They're just making it more of a pain to make a lot of the existing builds. And I think that's what you're going to wind up with. You're just going to see a whole bunch of people recreating existing builds. They're just going to have a terrible build between now and whenever they get that finished out. So, I don't necessarily want to be entirely pessimistic about this, but I just do not see this accomplishing anything. It's not going to accomplish its goal. I think people are still going to have the same builds. I think it's still going to be exactly where it is right now, just more of a pain, because the skills are laid out in an even less user-friendly manner. So, what would my solution be? Instead of just sitting here and complaining about this the entire time, what would I actually do to fix this? And what I would say, personally, I think it's a pretty simple approach, but it's a lot more radical. Right now, they try to provide a bunch of just general use skills. They don't tell you this skill is a destroyer skill, this skill is a battleship skill. They just try to make general skills that anybody can take. But let's face it, there are battleship skills, there are destroyer skills. I don't care about airplane skills, I don't care about torpedo skills in my battleships. I don't care about them. So you've already got cruiser skills, battleship skills, destroyer skills. You're just not calling them that. So what do? Stop pretending. Just stop pretending like you don't have 4 different classes of ships in this game, and that you need 4 different skill trees to offer them the variety. And I'm not saying you got to lock people into skill trees, but instead of having, endurance, attack, support, and versatility trees, have destroyer, cruiser, battleship, aircraft carrier. They just call it what it is. And if a ship wants to get a captain skill from another area, they can grab it. But in general, say, here's your destroyer skills. Tier 1, you can get the 20% radius to your smoke, or you could trade out your regular smoke screen for that Perth style smoke screen. Level 2, here's your torpedo options. Level 3, here's where you can mess with your main guns. Level 4, here's your concealment expert. Just accept that there are multiple classes in this game and build skill trees for those classes. Right now, this just general approach of general skills, it doesn't work, because you find the classes, you find the skills that are for your class, and you take them. It's like there's not a lot of variability in the builds, and there's not going to be so long as they stick with these existing skills. So that's my thought on the upcoming captain skill revamp. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fuss, a whole lot of mess, and nothing's going to change. And it's not the right solution. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Right in the middle of the Prince Eugen missions, the Graf Spee. Got the Prince Eugen on my mind for some reason. Right in the middle of all the Graf Spee missions, and those are actually a lot of fun. I actually finished up last month's Drydock episode right before all the brouhaha came up about the Christmas convoy missions on EU, which was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. But I'm right in the middle of trying to get almost said the Prince Eugen. I'm right in the middle of trying to get the Graf Spee. It's going very nicely. I should have that one pretty soon. I'm looking forward to it. Free ship. Hey, I'm always happy to get a free ship. I got my first 15-point captain. My New Orleans now has his full concealment build, which is really nice. And I am a handful of battles away from getting my New North Carolina to a 15-point captain. So excited about that. Overall, just having a good time in the game right now. Playing a lot of the Scharnhorst. I actually got the Scharnhorst review out. I was happy about that. Coming in the future, now that I have this new editing software as well as a new microphone, which, by the way, the editing software is so much nicer than Windows Movie Maker. I was 100% wrong. I'm not going to complain that this thing's a lot harder to use. I've already reached and surpassed what I could do in Windows Movie Maker, and I definitely feel like the Scharnhorst has some of the best production values of any movie I've made yet. I'm actually going to go back because I was working on a historical piece for American anti-aircraft weapons. I'm going to go tweak that. Script, try to get that script improved, tighten it up, and then I'm going to re-record all the audio on my new microphone, because that's one of the big problems that I had previously, was that the audio, for whatever reason, the levels were all variable and nothing was working out the way it was supposed to. So I want to go in and re-record all the audio and re-put that together in the new software, because it is just so much nicer than what I was working with before. I think I'll be a lot happier once I do that. Video-wise, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really kind of running lean on some of my replays. It's not that I haven't been having good games, it's just I haven't really been having YouTube-worthy games. So right now I'm taking a look at what I want to do, either increase some of the more historical videos, maybe do some more of the how-tos as far as the like the AA piece that I just put out, do a few more like that. But overall, hopefully just going to try to keep making some videos. At the end of the month, I'm going into an outage, which is going to mean it's going to become a real pain to get anything done. But I am going to try so very hard not to have a repeat of last year, or last time I had an outage, and actually keep some videos coming out. So that's what's up with my videos right now. Spent most of this one talking about the upcoming captain skill tree and why I think it's not going to work. But yeah, there you go. You have my thoughts. This has been Bogatyr. Catch you next time.